Now that 2020 is behind us, we thought we'd share with you the national park sites we visited in 2020. Anyone familiar with our channel knows we are huge supporters of the National Park Service and all that it represents. We visited much less this past year than usual, but we hope this video inspires you to not just hike amazing mountains, but to check out many other cool historic places around the country as well. This is Magellan,
And this is Greyhound.
where we make videos about epic road trips, kayaking, hiking, and other outdoor adventures. This is the home of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd president and only four-term president of the United States. Located in Hyde Park, New York, along the Hudson River, this is where he was both born and laid to rest, and lived most of his life. FDR used an elevator shaft to pull himself up by using a rope when he was unable to walk up the stairs due to his polio. Here was his bedroom with an encoded phone where he could be reached during World War II. Adjacent to the home, you can also visit his presidential library, which also happens to be the first U.S. presidential library ever created. If you're into history, this was a really cool place. FDR used this desk both in the White House and his home for his entire life. The second place we visited is also in Hyde Park, the Vanderbilt Mansion, formerly owned by Frederick Vanderbilt. Built from 1896 to 1899 during the Gilded Age, this 54-room mansion is one of the oldest estates along the Hudson River. It was also the only home to have electric before it was introduced to the area, and had its own mini power plant for plumbing and forced hot air central heating. The first floor contains the elliptical hall, dining room, and living room. The second floor contains the main bedroom suites and guest bedrooms. And the third floor contains the servant quarters, which we were not shown. This is Hamilton Grange, the home of one of the United States' founding fathers, Alexander Hamilton, also known as the Star of Hamilton, the musical. Located in the Harlem neighborhood of Manhattan, it was the only home he ever owned. Here you can learn about his rise from an orphan on the island of Nevis in the Caribbean to being the right-hand man of George Washington, with whom he had a very close friendship, to his rivalry with Thomas Jefferson, and his fatal duel with Aaron Burr. The General Grant National Memorial, also known as Grant's Tomb, is a giant mausoleum in the Morningside Heights neighborhood of Manhattan, right off of Riverside Drive, where Ulysses S. Grant, 18th President of the United States, was buried along with his wife Julia. It is actually the largest mausoleum in North America. Completed in 1897, it was modeled after Halicarnassus in now modern-day Turkey and was intended to look militaresque. These two red sarcophagi contain the remains of both Grant and his wife. Our next visit was to St. Paul's Church National Historic Site in Mount Vernon, New York, just north of the Bronx. It is one of New York's oldest parishes. During the Revolutionary War, it was used as a hospital by the British after the Battle of Pell's Point was fought no more than a mile away. The names of the parishioners and their families are still labeled on their respective seating areas. During Mardi Gras, we explored the New Orleans Jazz National Historical Park. It is located in the Treem neighborhood near the French Quarter, and features various landmarks, statues, and monuments dedicated to figures in the development of jazz in New Orleans, like Buddy Bolden, Sidney Bechet, Mahalia Jackson, and others. One of the bigger parts of the park is the Louis Armstrong Park. And of course, you have got to listen to many of the people playing on the streets, like Doreen Ketchens or 8 Dice Cloth. Our next place was the Jean Lafitte National Historic Park and Preserve. Located just outside of New Orleans, the preserve is named after a pirate and privateer who helped General Andrew Jackson in the Battle of New Orleans during the War of 1812. The preserve itself is comprised of several sites to preserve the history of both the war and the surrounding area. We chose to hike a few trails in the Barataria Preserve, and we were able to get pretty close to some alligators. While nearby New Orleans, we visited the Gulf Islands National Seashore in Mississippi, specifically the Davis Bayou area. The Gulf Islands consist of a series of islands in the Gulf of Mexico in both Mississippi and Florida. We had actually planned a kayak trip to many of the islands, including Deer Island off in the distance, but rain spoiled our plans, so we just took in the views and walked some of the trails. Shenandoah National Park in Virginia is located about an hour west of Washington, D.C., with most of the park accessible by Skyline Drive, a 105-mile road that bears south and connects to the Blue Ridge Parkway. It definitely lives up to its name. Whether you decide to pull off to some of the many viewpoints or go for a hike, it's a really beautiful area. We decided to do a few short hikes to the summits of Mary's Rock, Stony Man, Little Stony Man, and Hawksbill, which is also the highest peak in the park, which we also made a video of, which we'll link above. Our next destination was the Blue Ridge Parkway, a 469-mile scenic route along the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia and North Carolina. It is almost always the most visited place every year among all National Park Service locations. It features a variety of things to do, such as hiking, like in the Peaks of Otter, checking out local Appalachian music, old historic mills and cabins, and beautiful waterfalls. It is also just a really nice drive at any time of year, although be wary of closed roads during the winter. Our next place was Great Smoky Mountains National Park, which was the most visited national park in the United States in 2019. Located in both North Carolina and Tennessee, many trailheads and lookout points can be accessed from Newfound Gap Road, which cuts through most of the park. While we were there, we hiked to the Alum Cave Bluffs, Inspiration Point, Rainbow Falls, ascended to the summit of Mount LeConte, saw beautiful regrowth after devastating wildfires, rode our bicycles around Cades Cove, hiked to Andrews Bald, and went up to Clingman's Dome, the highest mountain in the Smokies. Named after the 26th President of the United States, and the only national park after a person, Teddy Roosevelt National Park is located in western North Dakota and consists of 3 separate areas of badlands. This is Roosevelt's cabin with deer, who clearly don't mind me. Roosevelt himself came out to the area in 1883 to hunt bison, and fell in love with the area. He later wrote that it informed his policies on conservation in the United States. The park contains various lookout points, campgrounds, and many scenic loops to drive. Formed by the Colorado River, the Grand Canyon is one of the 7 natural wonders of the world and is a mile deep. Think about that for a second. Whether whitewater rafting is your thing, taking in breathtaking scenery from viewpoints, or you just want to hike it from rim to rim like us, the Grand Canyon is absolutely done no justice in photos or video, and you should definitely see it. What are your favorite national park sites, and where should we go in 2021? We have a few ideas already, but nothing is set in stone. Be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to our channel.
We'll see you on the trails or in the water.